everybody, welcome to my channel. My name's Mel. Thank you so much for joining me today for a video in which my cats recommend some books. So this is a video idea that I actually saw over on Victoria from What Victoria Reads channel. She got the idea from Amy Myers, who suggested to her on Instagram that a video that she would really like to see Victoria make was recommending books based on her cat's personalities. I watched the video, which is linked in the description below, and I thought it was absolutely fantastic, and I said to Victoria, this is awesome, can I do the same? She said of course, so that's what I'm doing today. I'm going to recommend books based on my cat's personalities, which is why I am wearing the cat scarf and the cat earrings. You guys may have noticed that I do have quite a lot of different clothes that have cats somewhere on them. These are the ones that I decided to go with today. So yeah, that's that. So before I tell you the books, I just want to tell you our little family situation. We have 3 cats. I had 1 cat and Rowan had 2 cats when we met, and so now we have a little blended fur family. So I'm going to, recommend some books based on their personalities. I'm going to start off with Shade. Shade is the cat that was originally my cat who came into the house with me when I moved in. And yeah, I'm going to start with Shade because I've had her the longest, and for me she was the OG. So I'm going to recommend 2 books for each cat based on different personality traits for each cat. So Shade. I got Shade from someone who had found a litter of kittens in the botanical gardens and couldn't find the mother. So they just found these kittens. They didn't know really where they came from. They assumed that the mother was a feral cat and had given birth to these kittens in this garden bed in the botanical gardens. Someone, I think, volunteered, worked, I'm not sure what the situation was, but someone found these kittens and took them home and then were trying to rehome them. A friend of my sister found this out somehow, and she knew that I was really wanting to get a cat, so she messaged me and was like, hey. So I went with my sister and looked at these cats, and we ended up picking Shade because when Carol, my sister, picked her up, she just started purring really, really loudly straight away. But she was very young and she had quite the traumatic experience, I think, being so young and her mother not being found anywhere, being taken from where she was born to someone's house and then being taken by another bunch of people and away from the rest of her siblings, and when she was very, very young and she realistically still needed her mother. So I think she went through a lot at a very, very young age, and I think that has really influenced the way that she approaches life. She always just kind of seems very skittish and nervous and doesn't like change at all, but also really doesn't like it when, so for example, she was sitting on my lap this morning and she was kind of patting at me and she got her claw stuck in my shirt and I was trying to help her get it out and she just kind of freaked out and started hissing at me, even though I'm the person that she's lived with since she was tiny and she absolutely does love me. Like, there's no doubt about that. She's definitely a mummy's girl, but she just freaked out and hissed and like really wasn't coping with me trying to help her. So I think that that's a result of trauma. So anyway, the book that I'm recommending on the basis of that is Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. So I'm recommending this book because I feel like that is a lot of what Eleanor Oliphant is like. I feel like she's got a lot of trauma in her past that very much influences her current life, but she doesn't really realize that. She thinks that she is living her best life. She thinks that everyone else around her is completely stupid and she thinks that she's got it completely figured out and she knows exactly what's going on, but she's got a lot of past trauma which she has to try and figure out. So that's the reason why I'm recommending Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman, based on Shade and some of Shade's past trauma. I do think there's a lot of heavy stuff in the book, so trigger warning for a lot of stuff. Do check trigger warnings. But I did think it was really, really well written. I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it explored past trauma and the way that it affects people without them even knowing or understanding really, really well. I'm not an own voices reviewer, so take that with a grain of salt, but based on what I know currently and what I think currently, I did really enjoy the book and I thought it was done really well. So that's the first book for Shade. I did just also talk about the fact that Shade is very much a mummy's girl. She's getting a lot better and a lot more willing to interact with others, with humans. She's starting to get a lot more able to relax around humans, get pats off other humans. She used to just, no, the only one that she would have anything to do with was me. She has almost never sat on Rowan. He will pick her up and she'll happily get hugs from him, but she won't go and sit on him of her own choice. However, the last few days she has started to do that, which is amazing. But yeah, she loves her routine. She likes to be comfortable. She likes to have things just how she likes them. She doesn't like to be interrupted from the things that she likes. She likes to have food always available. And for all of these reasons, I'm going to recommend The Hobbit by JRR Tolkien. So the reason I'm doing that is because Bilbo Baggins, who is the main character and The Hobbit, is very much all about comfort, all about food, all about routine, all about his place and feeling happy in his place, having his pipe, having his food, just being comfortable and comfort stuff around him. And then Gandalf comes along, the wizard Gandalf, and whisks him off on this adventure, and he is constantly bemoaning the fact that he's not at home in his hobbit hole, being comfortable with his pipe, and wishing he was, and also just kind of being like, how is this happening? Why is this happening? What is happening today? And I feel like that is what Shade is like. That's kind of how she lives her life. Like every time something happens that results in her not getting to have her comforts and getting to just snuggle up on the couch and fall asleep in the sun, she just reacts like that. Like, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? Why do you hate me? So yeah, for Shade, I'm recommending The Hobbit by JRR Tolkien. Okay, the next cat that I'm going to recommend a book based on is Peanut. We always say that Peanut is the bravest of the kitties. Peanut is the cat that will happily come out and hang out when there are lots of people around. She's very curious, so she wants to know what's going on. She'll come up and get up in your face even when there are people she doesn't really know in the house. We do occasionally have some friends come around who have toddlers, and toddlers love cats and don't really get cats, so they can be quite grabby, and Peanut is quite happy to come out and investigate and see what's going on, and potentially even allow herself to be patted by the toddlers. Whenever anyone brings a dog around, she potentially will come out and kind of have a look what's going on. But she's definitely the bravest of the cats. She's definitely the one that will come and see what's going on and be curious about what's going on, even though she's maybe a bit nervous about it. And for this reason, I am going to recommend Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston. I'm recommending this book because I think that Amari is very brave character. She's an 11-year-old girl and her brother goes missing and she has no idea what's going on. She doesn't know whether he's died, whether he's, been kidnapped, whether he's run away. And then one day she gets a message from him, and it turns out that there are supernatural things in the world that she didn't know about, and that her brother is a member of this supernatural kind of like government body, but also kind of like FBI kind of organization in charge of keeping the supernatural world in line, I guess. And Amari is suddenly sort of thrown into this world and is told that she has access to magic, and finds out all this stuff about herself and about the world around her that she didn't know, and also does finally discover that her brother is alive, but there's all sorts of stuff going on with that. And I just think she was really brave. I think there was a lot going on and she went through a lot of stuff, and I think that she was, like I said, really brave throughout all of it, particularly given that it involves her brother. And then Peanut is also very sneaky. Peanut has on occasion just kind of disappeared, and the thing is that our cats don't go outside. They're inside cats. They do have a cat run in the backyard, but that is an enclosed kind of cage attached to the house where they can have an outdoor experience, but it's definitely part of the house. They mostly don't try and get outside, but on occasion, Peanut will just disappear, and sometimes we get really worried about where she is and about the fact that we maybe accidentally let her out somewhere or somehow, even though we're incredibly careful about that. And most of the time, what she's done is kind of snuck in under the couch. So there's kind of a section at the back of one of the couches that has kind of been slowly over time, the threading has come undone, and she can kind of sneak in, because she's also quite a small cat, she can kind of sneak in and curl up asleep in the couch, under the couch cushions. So it's also quite difficult to find Peanut, and she also very often will come and sit on your lap, and she's, like I said, very small, very light. You don't necessarily know she's there, and then all of a sudden there's a Peanut on your lap and you don't remember that happening. So we think she's a very, very sneaky cat. Now, the book that I've chosen for this is maybe a little bit of a stretch on the sneakiness thing, but I've chosen it because I feel like the book kind of snuck up on me. So recently, a couple of months ago, I read Terra Nullius by Claire G. Coleman, and I was reading it thinking it was one thing, and then about halfway through the book, you suddenly get this reveal that essentially entirely turns the book on its head. And suddenly you're talking about something totally different. And I really was amazed by that, and I felt like it just totally snuck up on me, because I did not see it coming. So because Peanut is sneaky, I'm going to recommend a book that I think is sneaky in the way that it's structured, and that is Terra Nullius by Claire G. Coleman. And then our third cat is Pistachio. So Pistachio is a very strong-willed cat. She is very much the alpha of the two that Rowan had initially, and she is very much happy to tell you how she feels about things. She will get up in your face. She basically sits on Rowan while he works. He works from home, and she'll lie across his lap while he's working, particularly when there's meetings happening. She seems to enjoy being on camera in meetings. You will have seen her in my videos because she likes to come up and jump up and say hello while I'm filming. Yeah, she is someone who is very willing to get up in your face and express her opinion. She has quite a loud meow, and it's very distinctive, and it just makes me feel like she's just a very strongly opinionated person or cat. And so because of that personality trait of Pistachio's, I am going to recommend Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. This is predominantly because of the character Jo, who I think is incredibly strong-willed and incredibly similar to Pistachio. She's just going to go and get what she wants and just do what she wants, and yeah, the world be damned. But I also do think that Amy is a very strong-willed character as well, and very much, you know, focused on what she wants and getting what she wants as well. Both characters are very family-orientated as well. Not that they're selfish or anything like that, but they just are very strong, and, you know, they get what they want, and they know what they want, and they'll get it. Which is what I think Pistachio is like. She is a very loving cat. She's the only of the three cats that seems to be aware that humans are also made of terrible flesh, and so she is actually very careful with the way that she sits on you and pads. She doesn't put her claws in when she pads you. So just like Jo, and to a lesser extent Amy, she's very aware of others around her and concerned with others around her, and careful and you know, very, it's not a selfishness, but she's just very much like, well, this is what I want and that's what I'm going to get. So yeah, I'm suggesting Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. And also, I think that Pistachio is a great defender. This was actually Rowan's suggestion, to be honest, that she was a great defender. Whenever there's another cat coming down the driveway or anything like that, which happens quite often, she will always be up on the windowsill, looking out the window, making sure everything's okay, keeping an eye on things. She does like to monitor Rowan while he works. Like I said, she'll come and sit on the desk, sit on him, and just make sure that everything's okay. She is very much kind of does the prowling around the house, checking up on things, checking that everything's okay, keeping an eye on where everything's where it should be, and very interested in protecting kind of her house and her belongings and, you know, the situation. And for this personality trait, I've decided to go with The Lies of Lamora by Scott Lynch. So if you've read that book, you will probably be wondering why. I feel like it's the bond between Locke and Jean that is the reason why I'm suggesting that. They are very closely knit and they will do anything for each other and they will defend each other to the hilt. And that is the personality trait that I think is what Pistachio is like. She will defend the things that are important to her and the animals and people that are important to her at all cost. And I think that's what Jean and Locke are like with each other. So that's why I'm suggesting The Lies of Locke Lamora for Pistachio. Then, like I said at the beginning, I do have another book that I think is a really, really great book suggestion for the three cats and their dynamics. And that is Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. So in this book, there are three sisters. There is Marianne, there is Eleanor, and there is Margaret. The title of the book, Sense and Sensibility, is referring to the two older sisters, Eleanor and Marianne. Eleanor is sense. She's a very sensible character. She is very concerned with doing what's right and making sure that everything is happening how it ought to be happening, which is, I think, what Pistachio is like. So I think Pistachio is the sense. And then Sensibility is Marianne. Marianne is, as the word suggests, very sensitive, very romantic, very much interested in poetry and love stories, and very into romance and into the tropes of romance, feels things very deeply and is very affected by the things that she sees around her. And I think that's what Peanut's like, although Peanut is brave, which Marianne is definitely brave as well, but I do think Peanut is a very sensitive cat and very aware of what's around her. And then the third sister in Sense and Sensibility that doesn't get a name in the title is Margaret, and she's the younger sister, and she is a very quirky little girl. She's quite solitary. Yeah, she's quite solitary. She plays a lot of games that aren't necessarily probably considered what young girls should be doing, particularly in that time. One of the other characters describes her as being practically wild, that she's let to kind of run loose and do whatever she wants. And I feel like that is Shade. I feel like Shade is a little bit odd of a cat. Ron and I often joke that she's not really a cat, she's just cat-shaped, because she doesn't seem to know how to do a lot of things that you would expect from cats. She doesn't know how to play, and yeah, she's just a little bit of an odd bod little cat. And that's what I feel like Margaret is like, but I think that also she tries to play, she tries to involve herself, which is what Margaret does as well. And yeah, I think that those three sisters and their dynamic is very similar to the three cats that we have and their dynamic. So those are all the books that I'm suggesting on the basis of my cats' personalities. Thank you so much to Victoria for letting me use your amazing idea, and for Amy coming up with the idea in the first place. Please comment below if you have animals of your own and have books that you think match their personalities. Let me know that down below. If you have other books that you think would match the personality traits that I've talked about for my cats, please let me know that as well. If you would like to leave me a comment but you don't know what, then leave me a cat emoji, because obviously we are talking about cats. All of my social media details are listed in the description below, so if you'd like to go and follow me on any of those other platforms, please feel free to do so. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would absolutely love it if you would subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. And yeah, like I said, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.